Health insurance sales have always had a reputation for being complicated and frustrating. Most agents get trapped in endless product details. They struggle to explain complex networks and benefits and end up confusing prospects more than actually helping them. So it's no wonder that 87% of health insurance agents burn out within their first year. But what if I told you that the most successful insurance agents are the ones consistently earning 200,000 plus annually and are actually using an incredibly simple approach? In my journey of building a team that generated over 35 million in team sales, I discovered the success in health insurance has nothing to do with memorizing plan details or mastering complicated sales techniques. Instead, it came down to a straightforward conversation framework that ignores all the complexities of insurance and gets straight to what the actual client cares about. In this video, I'm going to break down the simplest, most effective approach to selling health insurance that helped my newest agents go from zero experience in insurance or sales to consistently closing 20 plus policies per month. And this isn't just some random theory either. I'll show you exactly what to say, what questions to ask, and how to make health insurance sales dramatically easier than what you've been led to believe. So first and foremost, the problem with traditional health insurance sales. So why do most agents struggle with health insurance sales? A lot of times they come into it and you get bombarded with a lot of information that you need to know, right? And when you come into it and you're saying, all right, PPO, HMO, and what if the client asks this? What if the client asks this? And you get so immersed into understanding all of the product knowledge that you forget the most important part, the client. And even for me, when I first started, I'm someone that is very information predicated. I asked a lot of questions when I started. And that was something that, was actually one of the reasons I struggled in the beginning, was because I thought if I knew all of the information and I had all of the details about all the plans and everything, then I could just hop on the phone and educate the client and they would be able to make an informed decision. What I came to find out is that all that does is overwhelm the client, confuse the client, and lead them to asking more and more questions that's getting you further and further from the actual sale. When I actually understood that was actually when my upline at the time was pitching, and his pitch was so simple, so easy for the client to understand that it was almost like, how could you not buy at the end of the day? And so the more and more that I saw him close deals with that effortless 2-minute pitch, that it made me understand, it shifted myself to basically say, okay, well, this guy is earning multiple six figures. I'm over here explaining everything from the deductible to the PPO to the HMO. I'm not even understanding the most important part, which is what the client is actually looking for. And so when it comes to the health security conversation framework, instead of asking everything and under the sun of what they are looking for, I like to go into the 3 key questions, which is, again, 1, the health priority question. So with this, what I like to frame this as when I'm asking questions here is, again, what has you looking for coverage? Meaning, why now? What has you looking? What is something that you've had in the past? These are all under the same umbrella as we would look at as the discovery. The more time that you spend on that, the less time you'll spend on your pitch. The more people are telling you the pain points of why they don't have insurance or what their plan currently doesn't cover or why they're currently looking now, divorce, job split, baby, whatever the case is, they're going self-employed, the easier it's going to be to tailor that to your pitch. Now, the second thing that you need to identify is, when do you actually need the coverage to start? And when you identify this question, this just helps you with the framework of identifying a sense of urgency. So that at the end, if there's any hesitation whatsoever, the understanding there is that, look, you told me you needed this by the 1st. The approval process takes X amount of days to make it obviously aligned with that start date. We need to make sure that we get your application approved, and we're additionally increasing that sense of urgency. Obviously, with most insurance options, they're not paying anything that day that they decide to apply. They have to go through underwriting. They have to wait to make sure that they're approved first. But framing it exactly like that will allow you to get a lot more closes by just understanding when they actually need the coverage for, when they actually need to start by. And the most important question, which is number 3, is who are the decision makers that are involved in this process? The reason that that's important as well is because this leads you to, again, avoid the mistake of, I just need to run it by my wife, my husband, my dog, my employer, anybody whatsoever, after you just wasted 45 minutes with them explaining to them the difference between a PPO and an HMO. Now, the reason that this, again, is a much better process for you, and it's again geared to succeed in the long run, is because you are now the solution person. If you are able to absorb all of their problems You at that point become the problem solver. If I'm not making every presentation cookie cutter, some people, to be honest with you, they don't care what their premium is as long as their deductibles are low. On the other flip side, the only thing that maybe sometimes they care about is their premium is low and their deductible can be whatever because they're never going to use it. Or maybe they care about copays, or maybe they, if maybe if it's life insurance, they care about what the lifetime value is, what their payout would be. At the end of the day, the exact reason for what they're looking for within their coverage will gear your presentation into that cookie cutter model. Now, within that framework, once you've identified those questions, you know why they're looking, you know what their current plan does not have to offer. If it's been a while since they've had insurance, why has it been so long? Why now? When do they need it by? And who's the decision maker? Now you can, you're not having to, put in this whole masterclass salesy performance into making sure that they actually close. What you're able to do at that point is you're actually able to put together a place and spit it back to them, basically saying, okay, well, example here would just basically be, so pretty much you're telling me that you're looking for a plan that you can use in multiple different states. You want the deductible to be 5,000 for the family, or anywhere from 5 to 7,000 for the family. You want the premium to be relatively inexpensive, around $800 a month. And if we are able to add the dental and vision, that's something that you'd be open to looking at as well. At that point, you either get an absolute green light or they absolutely tell you something else that they need with their coverage as well. Once you've identified that information, it's as simple as, okay, great. I think we have some of those options available. Let me go ahead and take a look. Now you are basically gearing them to the buying process themselves. Because if they get to the end and they say, oh, well, it's just, then there's something that you did wrong in the discovery that's causing them to have hesitation at the very end as well. And so assuming that throughout the way and getting them to agree with you along the entire process will work a lot better for you in that sense than going through your normal sales process and going through the normal, these are the plans we have to offer, which one do you want? And overloading them with information, because again, people don't buy off of information at the end of the day. They buy off of, again, what the agent can offer them, right? The services, how well that you're able to, build that rapport with them and obviously develop some sort of a relationship, if you want to call it that. And two, I buy off emotion. So at the end of the day, if you're able to obviously present the products in a way where you're solving a problem for them, a pain point for them, then that 9 times out of 10 is going to get you the process as well. And it's also going to get you the sale that, of course, you're looking for. Now, the reason this approach works so much better is basically just how simple it actually is. When you strip away all the complexity, selling health insurance comes down to understanding what matters to your clients, helping them see the consequences of inadequate coverage, and addressing what's kept them from finding the right solution until now. What I find most rewarding about this method is that it works for any personality type. You don't need to be naturally persuasive or aggressive. You just genuinely need to be interested in your clients and willing to guide a conversation instead of just pitching them immediately. I hope you guys all found this video useful. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.